lines instead of horizontal lines. Solid colors just show the belly.
Everybody needs to say thank you to Brian for taking his day away from his family day.
Thank
I was
you.
surprised at that.
Thank you, Brian.
Good point. Good point. I had to barter for this day to be able to be here. Yeah. My wife was like, it's Wednesday. I was like, I know.
You take off every Wednesday?
I do.
Good for you.
I do. Yes, that's my family day. My clients know that it's my family day. My team knows that it's my family day.
And your friends know it's your family day.
My friends know it's my family day. Yeah, everybody knows it's my family day. So even Paul knows. He'll call me and I won't answer and I'll say it's Wednesday. Then occasionally I'll text you, right? Occasionally. Yeah. So how are you guys doing today? Good. Awesome. So I know they probably do this every single class and it's probably super boring. So I'm going to make it super quick, okay? I want to know who I am teaching today. So instead of giving me the I was born in Tucson and I'm going to die in Tucson speech, I just want to know your name, a fun fact about yourself, and how long you've been in the business. Just those three things, okay? You guys good with that? And I'll start. My name is Brian Stone. My fun fact is my left leg is shorter than my right leg. You can tell if you look at my shoes. One has a build-up, one doesn't. If I close my eyes and try and walk in a straight line, I will go in a circle. You tested it. Okay.
Oh, now you know.
Yeah. Nope, not going to show you. There's usually other motivating factors involved when I do that. So we'll say I've been in the business now. Let's see, May 1st will be 2 years in real estate. So I'm in my second year. So we'll start.
I'm Ashley Sorrell. A fun fact about me that everyone is very surprised to know is on my 18th birthday, I went skydiving with my grandma. And everyone's like, really? I'm like, yeah, it was her idea.
Awesome.
Yep. And then how long? Basically, I got my license, I think it's like 3 weeks ago now. So haven't done any deals, anything like that in here, figuring out what I need to do.
Awesome. Cool. So 3 weeks.
My name's Mike Longadowny. I have been in the business. Well, actually, I don't even have my license yet, so still waiting. And fun fact is I retired 2 years ago out of the building industry or construction industry, and but I got bored and I needed to do something, so I'm doing this.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that, but we might want to work on your sales pitch, Mike.
Okay.
Because that wouldn't be my first thing. I wouldn't say, I'm bored, so I'm doing this. Hire me.
Well, no,
I may want to work on
that in
some-
my sales pitch.
Okay,
so,
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it, but we may want to tweak that a little bit. But that's good.
It's just between us, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Paul Morgan, 20-year truck driver, biker. The next logical step is real estate, I guess.
That's true. Actually, there's a if you look at our organizational chart,
Right.
there's a pattern. And how long you been in?
November.
November. Awesome. Denver.
My name is Denver Tyndall. Been working real estate about 6 months. Started as an admin, as an agent now for 2 months. Fun fact is I'm an avid tabletop gamer, like indie board games and stuff.
Yeah. What's your favorite tabletop?
Right now it's Kingdom Builder.
Kingdom Builder?
Yeah, it's by the creator of Dominion.
Yeah. I'm Pandemic Legacy is mine.
We just finished.
You like
The
season
last
1?
Season 1, yeah. It was,
Yeah, there's season 2 out.
I know, we have it. We
It's
haven't
intense.
started it yet. The
Okay.
season 1 was sweet.
Awesome. We'll keep this short. So yeah, definitely.
Sheila Johnson. I've been doing this for 5 months now. And fun fact, I kind of decided to do it because the fact me and my husband were flipping houses and I wanted to do it for a long time. So it just gave me the extra motivation.
Awesome. Well, I wouldn't say that's a fun fact because that's still business, but we'll get to that later.
Fine. Fun fact, I've had every single career you can think of, and I don't ever never felt like I've found my niche until now.
No, still not fun.
Perfectly, not
Work is fun for her.
You like to flip houses. I enjoy flipping houses.
Cool.
I love decorating.
Still not fun. We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it.
Karen Hasselborn,
Sheila?
Yeah.
That's fun.
I'm not anymore.
That's fun.
I love razor writing.
You what?
Love razor writing, side-by-side vehicle. We took our side-by-side down the.
See? There you go. Okay. All right. Give Sheila a round of applause. You found something. All right. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Karen. That's awesome. Paul.
Kenny, been doing this since June, and for better or for worse, I've been called the most connected person on the internet.
Paul knows everybody. That is a true statement.
I run into a random person in my open house. Yeah, I know Paul. Where are you?
Yeah.
It went that far.
Yeah.
We were on street of Honolulu and I ran into somebody.
On our honeymoon.
On your honeymoon. Yeah.
I've been doing this since November, and fun fact is, I don't know, I'm from South America, and I'm a fun person, love people, and I'm just fun.
Yeah. That is fun. Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
My name is Kim Winningham. I've been doing it since July. I was actually somewhere else for a year. And I love to redo stuff. Anything. I will, if it's a piece of furniture, I'll paint it. If it's a lamp, I'll paint it. I love, not necessarily a house, but I love to like flip. But
Are you married?
No.
Okay.
I like white.
So you can find someone that you can redo? That's what I was going to do. Yeah, just curious if that transfers to people. Because I've got some people I should introduce you to.
I like bringing life to things.
That's awesome.
You know, I try to see, yeah, tell me about that.
No, that's I haven't heard that one yet. I like it. Elizabeth, which one?
Elizabeth Sherwood. I've been doing this since about April. Kind of interesting fact, I have vitiligo, so I have 2 skin tones, and I have a bunch of cats who are the same skin tone, so I consider myself the head of the orange and white army.
I love that. That is awesome. I haven't heard that one yet, and I've been in a ton of classes with you, so you should save that one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Complaining about the internet.
Yeah. Don't talk about your student loans anymore. Everybody knows that.
You're welcome.
I'm Jordan Rhodes. I've been with KW since April of last year. And fun fact is, I'm going to have a new kid in March. Oh yeah, excited. Scary but excited because I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. Oh wow. So I haven't had a newborn baby in quite some time.
Awesome. That shifts from fun and not fun, just so you know.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
I'm Donna Heenan, and I've been with Keller Williams since December 26th. Looking forward to receiving my license in May. And a fun fact about me, I love to sing and dance and act. And I actually got to do a pilot for Animal Planet during my brief tenure in Hollywood.
That is really cool. Awesome.
I do too.
My name's Monica Kelly. I've been with Keller Williams for about 3 days now. I don't have a lot of fun facts, so I don't know.
Your fun fact is that you moved here from the same town that's named after Denver.
That's right.
Right? Isn't Denver, Colorado? It's named after you, right, Denver?
Yeah.
It's not the other way
Well,
around.
I named it after.
You named it after you. Awesome. So 3 days. That's awesome. By the way, Monica is not new. She has 3 days. She is experienced. She has 3 days of experience. So you're not new.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm Audrey Anson. Fun fact about me, I can make paint from scratch. Yeah.
That's really cool.
My dad's a chemist. I've been doing it since I was a little bitty. I am brand new to this, working on getting my license, but I live for a generation older. So I guess there's another fun fact.
Awesome. Cool. Well, now that we know each other, or I know you guys a little bit better, let's get into it. So, did anybody do the homework? Show of hands. The camera's not turned on you, by the way, so you can tell the truth. So,
You mean the tractor day?
anybody do the homework?
You mean the tractor day?
Yeah, like putting your tractor. Well, and you know there are like other things for you to do in between the classes, like watch videos. And,
Doing more this time than last.
Yay! Cool.
Ball in class.
Can we make a commitment today? If I make this commitment to you guys, because we, I've got you for a couple hours, will you respond that we'll just tell the truth, even if it's embarrassing or it's not something that we want to share. Are you guys good with that?
She is right, they have not.
Yeah,
They've not
everyone
mentioned homework at all in class, like, I completely forgot it.
Yeah, and that's okay, you know, because again, two ways, full transparency. When I went through it Ignite, and when the first time I went through Bold, it's tough. It is tough to do the activities and to do the homework, right? I get it. But it is there for a reason. So even if it's after the fact, I would recommend that you guys watch the videos, dig into the activities, plug in, and you may be surprised at what you find that's a benefit to you. Okay. I struggle with that too. I mean, I don't know that I've ever come to a class and been 100%, just because it's hard to do, right? I mean, it's hard. You get distracted, squirrel moments, right? You get a text message or a really cool cat video and in the middle of the class, and that drives your focus away, right? So those of you that have been doing the tracker and running the thank you notes and stuff like that, what kind of business are we seeing? You guys seeing a benefit from that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, the dream.
Yes.
I do interrupt you.
No, I did Ignite last time, and I did tons of note cards. And then Christmas came, and I thought, I'm gonna send everybody a Christmas card, handwritten Christmas cards. And I called somebody moving here and gave me the lead, and the wife mentioned, thank you for the Christmas card. So it does pay off.
It does.
They do pay off. Yeah.
It does. Even with your current clients, right? Or your family or your friends. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Denver, what were you going to say?
I haven't had any direct response from a lot of my legion, but then like other stuff just has happened to show up, if that makes sense. Like it's just like attracting other lead opportunities.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Denver, because that has been my experience in my time in real estate. While it's been shorter than others and longer than others, I will tell you, when you put the activities out there, it does come back. It may not be in the place that you think, right? It really won't, but you will see, and if you talk to the other agents that are successful in this office, they'll tell you, I just did the work, and then the universe brought it back, right? I mean, if you put Mark Stewart, who any of you that were at the team meeting, that's my business partner. He's my rainmaker. He says, you put it out there in the quantum field. We talk about that all the time. Just get it out in the quantum field, right? And it'll come back around. Yeah. Jordan, did you have something like that?
Yeah, so this is my second time going through Ignite. But I will say off the thank you cards from just my experience from last time, because I missed several classes here in between for some family stuff, but from the last Ignite class that I did get a $500,000 listing out of that that's coming up in like the next month.
Off the thank you card?
Yeah, after they finish a remodel. But I mean, even if you get one of those, I mean, it makes 100 thank you cards worth it.
Can before we jump into the objectives for today, can I share a quote with you guys? This is something I've been focusing on with my real estate coach and with Mark. And that's, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay. So you'll learn a lot about scripting, a lot about strategies, a lot about what to say, how to handle objections. And all of those are great. And keep in mind that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So get in a questioning approach with them, right? Come from curiosity. Make sure you're asking those questions to establish the relationship first. And then when you're sitting down at the table to talk about doing business, that's when your scripts and your objection handlers and your role play is really going to pay off, okay? That question about that?
That kind of goes in, I just moved into a new neighborhood in Battlefield. So on the handwritten notes, I got everybody's address in the subdivision I was moving to and introduced my wife and I to them and put a business card in there with them.
It's fantastic.
And while I was moving in, the neighbors were coming over and, hey, you're Paul with Keller Williams. Every one of them knew that that's who I was when I was doing it. So it did work. And that way it wasn't, hey, who's the strange guy, moving in down the street. They already knew
right,
the strange guy was coming into the neighborhood.
And even if you're in it, I love that idea. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and that could work even for some of you that are new to real estate but not new to your neighborhood. You can still reintroduce yourself to the neighborhood, right? Yeah. So if you're having trouble with who to call, who to door knock, who to write a thank you card to, I mean, just start with the people that are right in your backyard, right? Maybe not the neighbor kids that are in the backyard.
door knock your neighborhood. Case in point, my neighbor did not know that I was an agent, and she has another Keller, luckily it's Keller Williams, but there's another Keller Williams sign in her yard,
Yeah.
right next to her.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah. My neighbor across the street, she's moving into her pod, and I've been dripping on her for a while, but we'll see what the next week brings. If it's my sign, great. If it's not, I'm gonna have to look at it every day. And there is no better motivation to knock your neighborhood than having a sign across the street. I'll tell you.
Just go put your sign in your yard.
Trespassing, I think that's.
Or leave it on our front porch, say, I thought you might be needing this.
There you go.
Hey.
That's awesome. She might be needing this. Let me know.
Hey, I saw the movers. I thought you might be needing this, just in case. That's good. I like that.
I thought you might be needing.
All right, so today the focus is all about finding and winning buyers, and I've got some objectives based on the content that I want to cover. That's finding buyers, qualifying and scheduling them for the consultation, and then how to actually conduct the consultation, right? And so some of this content I'll tell you on the front end, I'm gonna move pretty quickly because I'm really passionate about the consultation, and I know that's going to be where a lot of the questions lie. So if you guys have questions as we go through and we're having good discussion, I may just table that to the end, right? So we can get through the content. Okay. Now I also want to know what expectations you guys have today. So what do you want to learn from me? If you can't tell, I did human resources before I did real estate, so I like whiteboards and systems and stuff like that. So what do you guys want to get out of today?
Get them, you have a good conversation with them, get them on the hook to get that appointment, to get that
The
next
hook?
step is still my weakness.
We're going to talk about
Set once you got that hook in.
set the hook like it. Oh,
From an open house, how do you set that appointment?
Yeah.
open house. Okay. So you're talking about open house scripting or
Like a follow-up.
follow-up?
Yeah, I got
She
one.
was saying, how do you get that commitment to have a listing appointment
Like
from a
from
contact you
the
have
open
into an
house.
open house?
Okay.
That's what she
No,
meant.
not a listing appointment.
How do you ask?
Any appointment,
Any appointment, right?
which you should be trying to get at every appointment. So
Along with open house, how do you ask for them to sign the agreement at the open house?
That's true, that's yeah.
Don't let them leave the open house. If they're unrepresented and they're buying, how do you get them to sign the agreement before
That's a
they
good
leave?
one. That is a really good one.
Because that's my weakness.
okay, cool. Anything else? What other expectations you guys have for me? What do you want to get out of today? Because I mean, I've been where you sit, and it really doesn't matter what I know or what I teach. It all matters what you guys get out of it. So I want to make sure this is valuable. What do you guys want to get?
What do you think is easier, like when you get clients that say, yeah, they want to work with you, and they want to do it through the dot loop, but then, you know, they take forever, like one of them will sign, the other one just drags their feet. What's a good way to expedite that, get that done immediately?
So what's your outcome with that question? What do you want to
Like
do?
I have some buyers that are in the process of getting pre-qualified, they're like, yeah, we're working with you, and the husband's already signed the documents, and the wife has signed like the designated agent, but not the other one. I'm like, hey, you missed a document, and, you know, I don't wanna nag at them to sign the freaking thing, but, you know, I've had two of them do that.
Are we okay with just making sure I highlight how to create some urgency with buyers that we work with?
Yeah, that
Does that
works.
address kind of what you were asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like the last couple months I've had clients of mine that are ready to buy, but they have to sell first, but they don't, you know, we're trying to figure out how to find what they're looking for so we can start that process. And it just kind of, so maybe like creative ideas on how to approach that if there's not something that they like on the market.
Sure. I've got some scripting that will probably help. We could even do some role play around that. Jordan, just remind me if we don't get to that, but I just put buy sell, right? So how do we deal with those dual clients, right? Which are great. Everybody loves having those. But that does kind of create a lot of confusion on what's the order of operations, right? What do I do first? What do I do second? What do my clients need to be doing now for their purchase if we haven't sold their home, right? So that way we're not scrambling whenever we finally get it under contract and we have, 2 hours to pick from what's out there, right? Yeah. Does that kind of
Exactly.
address what you're talking about, Jordan?
Yeah, because their concern is, well, what if we don't find what we want? But I've already sold our house, then what? So that's kind of where it's at.
Sure. Yeah. Anything else?
First walking on where to start.
Where to start? All right, so getting started is my
And on Jordan's, was your
Yeah.
meeting? Also, I don't know anything about the kick-out clause. I have a buy-sell consultation today. The contingency, I'm not.
We probably won't be able to get totally into the weeds for that.
Okay.
I'll address it as I'm talking about that, okay? And then I may give you some resources to look into.
Thank you. That's what I figured.
All right, so let's get started. So we talked about expectations. This is, by the way, the videos. Like, what did you think? What are your ahas about working with buyers? This is a lot of the stuff that is in the homework content, but we're going to touch on a lot of this stuff today. Okay. So the 10-4 we already talked about. Lead generate. I typically always have my lead generation time within the class. However, I want to give it to you guys on what you prefer because it's a lot of content today. Would you rather do your lead gen at the end or do it now?
I think we can do the class.
Okay. Because I know originally these were longer classes, but that made it harder for scheduling. Okay. So I'll talk about lead generation as we go through, and if we have time at the end, I'll actually do the session at the very end. Okay. That's the first time I've actually had to skip that, but the last couple of times I've taught this content, I always end up short, and I feel like I've cut you guys short. So I want to make sure that we're addressing all that stuff. So let's get your head in the game. If you guys are following along on page 10, let's get into the content here. So finding buyers is simple, servicing buyers is inexpensive, earning with buyers is quick. Okay. So buyers are one of the fastest sources of businesses that you can have. You should always be listings focused because listings bring buyers. However, when you first start, I will tell you that you get the check a lot sooner, right? Your average relationship with a buyer is going to be much shorter than your average time frame of the relationship with a seller, right? Because you may find the home that they're looking for within the first week if they're pre-approved and they're ready to go, okay? And your relationship should be shorter with the buyers, right? So we'll talk a lot about that as we go through this content, and you'll get into more of that on Friday when they talk about finding and showing homes, right? But the consultation piece of that is you set expectations for how many homes you're going to view. You shouldn't be working with buyers and showing them 50 to 100 homes, right? It should be a shorter relationship. And the way I tell my buyers that on the front end is in the consultation, I say, if I'm having to show you 100 homes, then I'm a bad realtor. Because that means I'm not showing you the right homes, right? It means I'm not doing my job. So let's make sure that you give me tons of feedback so I can only show you the best homes that fit your needs. Let me do my job so you can do yours, right? There's lots of ways that you can set that expectation, but it is quicker when you're dealing with buyers. And this does not necessarily match what you guys have. So what do you guys have in your content? Oh, right here. So we're talking about back to the pipeline, right? Your leads, appointments, agreements, contracts, and close. So as far as buyers go, my average is about 3 weeks. That's typically how long it takes for me from the consultation, actually signing a buyer, to actually getting them in a home. The average is about 2 weeks. And so sometimes that can be like a day. Sometimes it can be 3 months. It's just averaged out, right? So with here, there's some NAR stats. So let's see here. Someone read me those stats under the NAR 2014 profile on page 11. You can share that.
88% of buyers purchase their home through real estate agent.
Okay.
Just keep reading them or one at a time?
Yeah, keep reading. That's good.
40% of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. 12% of buyers used an agent they had used in the past. 9% of buyers found an agent visiting an open house.
Okay. So there's a huge focus on open houses when you're first starting and trying to grow your database. That is a great source for you. However, what are these statistics telling you?
The referrals, friends and family are your money shot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because 88% of buyers will use a real estate agent. So out of that pool, 40% found their agent through a referral from friends or family, okay? So 12% are in the past, okay? So most of you guys are brand new or new enough to where you're not gonna have a lot of repeat business. However, can you still get referral business? Can you still find buyers from referral business? Okay. So where are you calling for referrals? Where are you guys looking for referrals? Oops. Trying to sneak through. Very sneaky. That's okay. It was a bad view on the video anyway. Awesome.
You know what? I can sit in.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying to find my customers. They got lost in the building somewhere, so I went to go find them there, and I guess they're back at my place over there. So
this is a confusing building. So. Awesome.
Did you guys log into the meeting this morning?
No. Oh, what? Are you talking about the 11 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here. I didn't log in.
Well.
Oh, you're talking about the morning one? Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to watch it. It's like landscape mode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
That
watched
one.
it on Facebook. It was the wrong direction.
Is this plug into here?
Yeah. I have no idea. Do you know?
I got nothing.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I'm glad you didn't actually call.
Me too. That makes for a fun class, right?
Absolutely.
So,
So that means we're probably not recording anymore.
I'm texting Nicole.
Okay. So what happened? Okay. So where are you guys calling for referrals now? What does that look like? Jordan.
Just for me, I've just got past clients. I call them, usually within 30 days after they close, gonna check in, see how they're getting settled, and that time I'll ask for referrals, and then through the process of buying a home as well, I ask through specific times in that process to ask for referrals too. So really just clients, and then like your immediate family, like your the people that are closest to you when it comes to that. I ask parents, grandparents.
Absolutely. So family,
Yeah,
friends, right?
Past clients.
Absolutely. What else?
I'm reaching out to all my social circles, so groups that I regularly contribute to.
Okay.
That have some structure to them, groups, clubs, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Good.
I started a weekly post on Facebook. Great reasons to move to Springfield, Missouri. Because a lot of my circle is not in this town.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Okay. So anybody else have Springfield as not the only place they live? Most of us, right? So I'm not a Springfield native. I moved here in 2015. Okay. And I was still able to do 25 sales in my first 12 months. So you don't have to, I want to bust that myth right now. You don't have to be from this area to get referrals, okay? I've had a lot of referrals come in from out of state. Keller Williams has a fantastic tool via their referral network for you to still provide value to your family and friends that need to buy or sell elsewhere. And guess what? Some of those referrals are just as good, if not better, than a deal here, right? Our price point is low, okay? If their average price point's $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in the area that they're in, that's like selling a $100,000 house here, a $125,000 house here, right?
So can you explain how that referral would work? Like, say I have a ton of family in the Sedalia area.
Sure.
And so how would I go about if my literally my rich aunt was like, hey, I want some waterfront property. I'm like, okay, and so I don't even know where to start with that.
Well, the key is that you're providing a service to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you're asking for just free money, right? Because the reality is that you are providing a service. So what's the turnover rate for realtors in the first couple of years? Like 85%, right? So do you think they're more likely to find a realtor that will take care of them with you or without you? With you, right? So that's the way the conversation has to be, and this is your sphere, right? So it's more candid. So it's hey Denver, hey I know it's been a while since we've talked. This was just a quick call about business. I just wanted to check and see if there was any needs you had that were real estate related, or if you knew of anybody that was planning to buy or sell anywhere in the country. So you can just tell me something you want to sell.
Yeah, I know people.
Awesome. So well, let's do this, Denver. Why don't you send me their info and what I've done for my friends and family, and I don't mind to do it for yours too, is I'll vet some agents for them. I'll do some homework to make sure that they have a really good, reputable agent that will protect their interest in the area. That way, at a weak moment, they don't choose a weak agent. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Great. So who is it that I need to get in contact with?
Sally.
Awesome. Well, I'll give Sally a call, and is it okay if I mention your name when I reach out?
Yeah, of course. I'll shoot a text and make sure she knows.
Great, great. And I'll get to work on finding someone for you, and I'll let you know once I find it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. So it's as simple as that, really. It's being in conversation, coming from contribution, you're providing value, right? And the catch there is provide value. Be picky about the agent you choose, right? Don't just say Joe Schmo over in St. Louis, right? Call that agent, have a conversation with them, make sure that they're willing to earn your referral, right? And make sure that it's a good cultural fit. Like, especially my family, I know my family, and I know what they respond to and what they don't respond to. So I will find them an agent that responds well to their type of need. Does that make sense? Like when my papa, who's in his 90s, wanted to sell his $400,000 piece of land, he doesn't want someone that's fluffy and bubbly, right? He just wants someone that can be in and out and get out of his hair so he can go to bed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So, you know, I had to find that go-getter, high D personality, right? My aunt, when I found her referral, it was a newer agent, which was great for her, that was more personalized, very soft, very warm, very, you know, big on communication, casual communication, and that fit her need perfectly. Both got the job done, right? So it's about picking the right person.
So do you get like a referral fee for that?
Yeah.
Is that preset?
Yes. So in the referral network under KW Connect, you can go into My Referrals. You can find agents that you can connect with all across the country, and you can connect with them.
All across the world.
All across the world. Thank you. Thank you. All across the world, and you can send them a referral via My Referrals.
Do it that way to make sure you get paid.
Yes.
Sounds like a simple phone call. That's not going to
You will have a form to fill out afterwards that the Market Center will need, and you'll have to share your information. However, the initial referral can be sent there. You can put in the client details, the contact details, and there's a way to track your notes, and so they can communicate back and forth. And you get notified via Kelly, via your app, for every step of the way.
So it's really important that you check your Kelly notifications, because it has happened where people they were trying to request a referral fee and add them to the referral network, and because they didn't check their Kelly notifications, never got it and missed out on that. And it's happened here.
I sent out a bunch of invites through Bold,
yes.
and I have some that are just now accepting
Yeah.
my
So they've actually
connection
requested they
request.
wanted to share that referral with them and they missed it. So
I usually put a 24-hour deadline. You can actually put a deadline on there. So it has to be accepted within 24 hours, or you can send it somewhere else. You can even broadcast it. I broadcasted one in Waco, Texas, because I didn't personally have an agent that I wanted to use. So I put in the information, I broadcasted it. I filtered the search criteria by agents that had taken Bold and that had done at least 10 sales on the list side, because it was for a listing, right? Because I wanted someone that used the Bold tactics, right? And I broadcast it, and I had, out of 50 people, about 12 responses, and they told me what their team structure was, how they market the property, what their client communication was, what my communication was, and I can pick the best one.
So the broadcast that you just don't have to pick a certain agent, you just send it out.
No, yeah, you can. Yeah, if you don't know an agent in the area, then you can broadcast based on your search criteria, and it doesn't actually share your client's details until you award the referral. So there's some tools that work really well for that.
Another referral idea is businesses that deal with people who will be buying and selling. I contacted a landscaper friend of mine. I said, you know, this spring, if someone's landscaping because they're getting ready to put their house on the market,
and there's not a sign in the yard,
let me know.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I will, if I get a listing that needs a sprucing up landscape-wise, you get the call first.
Yep. So that was, you know, getting back to our initial conversation, talking about where to get those referrals, right? 40% of buyers choose it based on referrals. Business to business is a huge focus of mine personally. It's written into my goals. It's how I got started. That and open houses. I made connections with vendors so that, you know, I could get referrals from those vendors as well. So lots of ways to get business. Don't operate off the limiting belief that just because you weren't born and raised and know all the coaches here, that there's not business for you to get that's referral based. So you just have to go find it. Okay. So What I want to do next is, we talked a lot about motivation and the questions that you guys had. I want to do a quick video called Finding the Motivated. I think you guys have a place to take notes on this. So we're going to watch this video, and I want you guys to tell me what ahas or what takeaways you have from the video. What page is that on? Just over there? 13.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pollack, and I'd like to share tips on how to find the motivated. What do I mean by find the motivated? Turning a warm lead into a closed client. The first tip is when you find someone, you want to ask for the business. Let's say you're at a party and your friend is pregnant. You can always say, hey, it looks like you need a bigger house. Or you're out and about and you see this big, beautiful diamond ring and not the full wedding ring. You can say, hey, it looks like you just got engaged. Congratulations. When are you buying your next house? And then I always ask, when are you ready to buy? When are you looking to move into your new house? What are those underlying tips of motivation that will tip you off to having a client that's ready to do business now versus a year from now? Tip number 2, ask for the appointment. Have a calendar or your smartphone ready to say, I have availability tomorrow at 2 or the next day at 4. Which one would work for you? Book the appointment when you meet someone who's ready to do business. Tip number 3, so now you've got the appointment, you want to pre-qualify that appointment by using scripts. Ask questions such as, have you met with the lender that I referred you to the other day? To make sure that they have their price range in mind when they're meeting with you to buy a home, and that you know they're able to sell a home, or that they're motivated by a desire to have another outcome, like maybe they're relocating or they're downsizing their home. There has to be some motivation level to continue forward with the appointment. Tip number 4, use embedded commands. When you get in front of the people face-to-face at your appointment, you want to be talking embedded command language, such as, when you're comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, then we'll sign the contract tonight. If you're using this language throughout your hour or half an hour appointment, they'll be more comfortable when they get to the end, and they'll sign that contract, and then you can move forward. The last step is you sign them up, and now it's your goal to get a referral. When you're in conversation with them, on the phone, in the car, at the closing, use questions. Who else do you know that's looking to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate that I can call today? If you keep saying this throughout the process, you'll find yourself turning more of your current clients into referral business that will generate lots of easy sales for you. So go out there and find the motivated and have a great day.
Cool. So, takeaways, ahas, what do you guys think of the video?
I like that when you're comfortable and confident that will sign, that I can sell your home, that will assign tonight.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So what is it about that you like? Is that
Well,
just a...
it kind of goes back to where, getting them to, they're comfortable and stuff, but they want to do it through dot loop. I'm thinking I just need to flip it around and have them sign the stupid paper agreement and be done with it.
It still works.
I know.
I think it works better.
In a lot of ways. I will tell you, I always hard sign my consultations. When it comes to representation agreements, I say always. I almost always, right? If I'm doing a consultation with them, which 9 times out of 10, there'll be a formal consultation, then I'm going to have that paperwork there. We're going to review it in person. We're going to sign in person. I'm going to scan there. Because there's something mental that builds confidence and urgency by putting pen on paper. And it doesn't do the same thing pulling up your smartphone and taking 30 seconds to zip through signatures. Okay. So I agree with what Paul said. Oftentimes it's actually better to deal with paper. And you will find fewer issues compliance-wise when you're face-to-face. I can't guarantee someone's paying attention to what I'm saying on a phone consultation if I don't see their eyes, right? And so if I want to have confidence and be their fiduciary, right, represent them in the best way, I want to know that they know what they're signing. Okay, so there's a lot of value in doing that in paper instead of electronically. I deal with a lot of electronic business. Don't get me wrong, because it's easy and it's quick and it's convenient. However, that doesn't always mean it's the best. Okay, so what else did you guys get out of the video?
I like the embedded commands myself.
Yeah. Did you catch a few of those?
I'm married, so I get embedded commands.
All the time. Right. Yeah, you meant to do those dishes last night, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, awesome. Embedded commands are huge, right? It's a way to create urgency without, being salesy. Yeah. So she talked a lot about asking questions, okay? What questions did she give you that you could ask? Here's a few examples. What questions do you guys use?
When are you ready to buy?
Yeah. When are you ready to buy? What else?
Have you been pre-qualified? Have you spoke with the lender that I gave you the information of?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I like, instead of having been pre-qualified, because that makes them feel like they are a number in a task. I like, are you working with a lender yet? Really, which one?
I like the agent question. It's the one that everybody's scared to ask, but you have to ask, right? Are you working with an agent? Right? I like to say, so I'm assuming since you're calling me or you're talking to me today that you're not already working with an agent, correct? Right? You see how I did that differently, right? So I'm assuming, since you're calling me, you're not already working with an agent to help you with your purchase, correct?
I do something similar at open house when they start asking all kinds of questions about other properties, and I'm like, so I'm assuming you're not working with an agent, and I've had a couple of them like, oh yeah, I've got an agent. I'm like, okay, great, then what's their name, and I'll give them a call and know that this is what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it stops the waste of time.
Yeah. Well, that's great at open house because I'll have some that will want to talk my ear off that are working already with Jen Davis. Great. Okay, you're working with Jen. I know you're taken care of. I'm going to make sure I get your information and I'll share it with Jen after the open house so she knows you came by. And then now I'm going to say, well, great, you're taken care of. Just let me know if you have any detailed questions. I'm going to make sure I'm giving some attention to everybody else in the open house. So I want to break away from that conversation so that I can focus on unrepresented clients and they don't eat up all my time. And then I have people walk in and out that don't have a realtor that I never even get to talk to.
So here's a question. Do you put that person's information if they give it to you in your database or not?
No.
Okay.
If they have signed with an agent and they represent that they are working with that agent, then I do not.
I haven't. I was just curious because,
And
they say, get everybody you can in your database. So.
Well, here's the thing. I leave in my card. I say, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if they reach out, I'll ask the same question. So I'm assuming since you're calling me, you're not working with an agent, right? And then I'll field that if they are unhappy. But at that point, they're contacting me. I'm not contacting them. So they shouldn't be in the database until after they're not working with that other agent, regardless of the company.
And I saw you, as you say, filled that really well at that open house that I shadowed you with. The guy that was unhappy with his, he didn't have a buyer's agent, but he had a seller's agent. And he was totally unsatisfied. Did you get that deal?
Oh yeah, we have that listing.
Did you find him a house to buy? Did you buy that house?
Haven't sold his house yet, so.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually gets into one of the questions that Jordan asked, right?
Sorry, I didn't mean to squirrel.
No, that's fine. No, it was a good squirrel, yeah. So how many of you know about profit share or have that as a goal for yourself as well? Great. You want a great tip for profit share? I actually heard this from Evan Deschamps just the other day. I was chatting about one of his clients that came in the open house, and he said, are you tracking that for all agents, not just KW agents? And I said, well, no. He said, well, you should be, right? Because you can reach out to those agents, and there is no better, warmer call to try and get in conversation and show value to someone from another company than to say, hey, one of your clients came through the open house. Here's their contact info. I'll text it to you. I let them know that, that I'd make sure that you knew that they stopped by.
Could you explain to me that profit share deal?
So that's a whole other topic for a whole other class. I will tell you that is a huge, huge opportunity for you. And when we have class on profit share, you should plug in.
Okay.
And there's a ton of videos online on YouTube and on KW Connect that talk about profit share and how to do it at a high level.
Okay.
Okay. So Ford is my model. So Ford, if you're wondering which questions to ask, oops, I'm going all kinds of backwards. This is what I use: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I didn't invent this model. Somebody a lot smarter than me did. I just use it and it works really well. Okay. So if you're not sure which questions to ask at an open house, or you don't have a rehearsed script in front of you, or you're calling for sale by owners and expires, it really doesn't matter. This works. This will get you in a relationship with that person, and it'll be a way to provide value to them. Ask a question about their family, right? Ask a question about what they, so what's keeping you busy these days, right? That's an occupation question, right? And it's a safe question because if they work from home or they don't have a career, then they'll tell you their recreation and their dreams instead of the occupation. And either way, you get the information from them and you strengthen a relationship without, coming across as, well, you don't have a job. Right? So there's lots of great people that don't get paid for what they do every day, right? So yeah, asking questions around those four. If you don't have something for each of those categories, then do you really know that person and do they deserve to be marketed, right? So again, back to that first quote I gave you, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you show that care first, then they're willing to sit down and they see the value in having a consultation with you so that you can tell them about how you can represent them to their purchase, right? Selling is not telling. And that's something that I personally struggled with. I found through my tracking in my first couple of years, I was better at converting people to the appointment when I first started, and I had no idea what I was doing than I did once I actually got some deals under my belt. It's because I knew the market, I knew the knowledge, and then I was so excited to share it that I just wanted to just vomit information all over people, right? It's like, oh, here's the stats of list price sales rate. I just went nuts. And then they just, okay, there's a crazy person here, I'm going to go on and look at the house, right? So you have to remember to get back to just caring about people. That's why people connect with you. That's why they want to do business with you. So that's a little bit about finding the buyers, right? Let's get into some of your content about market research, right? You guys have the market research. So you're going to get tons of questions from buyers. And it has some examples here on 14 for you guys, yeah. So what's available in my price range? I don't think I can afford to buy a house. I'm thinking about waiting until next year. Can you help me find investment properties? Well, yes, I can. All right, that's an easy answer. I can afford about $1,500 per month for my living expenses. I'd like to live in X neighborhood of high-priced homes that buyer can't afford, right? How do you handle some of these questions? Are there any of those that jump out that you guys want some insight on?
The last one.
The last one? When the price doesn't, or the wants don't match the budget? Yep. Okay. Yep.
Or they say, well, these listings are just too high priced for the size they are. And you're like, yeah, they're $90 a foot. That's a pretty good price for what you're looking at.
So I think all of these questions that you get are good reasons for you to set the appointment.
The what?
To set the appointment. Don't feel like you have to have all the answers to everything all the time, because nobody knows everything about anything, right? Be willing to say, I can only afford about this much, this neighborhood we want to live in. Wow, that's a great neighborhood, and that budget is probably going to be difficult to find something there. Wouldn't it make sense for us to sit down and we can kind of dig into what you're looking for? That way we can make sure that we're seeing all the properties that are available on the market, since it's going to be a tough find for you. I've got this Wednesday at 2 o'clock, or would Thursday morning be better? You see how I just flipped the question into the appointment?
See, I had the appointment. It's my buyers that I have under agreement that are...
So that's different, right? Yeah. We'll get into that in consultation, Sheila. Okay. So when you're in the consultation, you set the expectation, hey, we're going to look at, anywhere from 3 to 5 homes. The average buyer that works with me looks from 3 to 5 homes. Does that seem high or low to you? Some say, oh, that seems about right. And I'm like, cool, we're on the same page. And then some say, well, that seems kind of low. And I'll say, yeah, that's a stat I'm actually really proud of, because that means I do a good job at finding my clients the home that they were looking for, right? So, and just so you know, if we get to where we've seen about 5, 7, in Paul's case, 18 homes, right? Paul was my previous client. We might do a second consultation, or we might sit down and go over some things again, because that means that I don't have the perfect picture of what your family's looking for. So I need to know so that I can work best for you and find the best homes, right? Does that make sense? Early on, I learned this tip from Jen Davis, who's a phenomenal buyer's agent. She was on the team meeting today. She's been on stage with Gary Keller. Early on, I talked to her about how to set expectations in a consultation, and I still do it today with my clients. Let's set 5 non-negotiables. What are the 5 non-negotiable things that you want in a home? You can have less than 5, but you can't have any more than 5, right? And these are, and then I explain further. I say these are things that you can't live without, or you won't live with. And then you just dig in, right? So they say, oh, well, I want at least 5 acres. Okay, what about 5 acres is important to you? Well, you know, I just don't like being right next door. Okay, so just so I understand, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, so if I found you one that was 4.5 acres, had everything else that you desire, and was move-in ready, would you buy that house? Well, yeah. Okay, so your non-negotiable isn't really 5 acres, it's privacy, right? Right, okay. Well, that's good for me to know. Let's focus on homes that give you the right amount of privacy so that we can find you what you're looking for. Do you see the difference? So it's every time they give you those items, then you just dig a little bit deeper, right? And I tell them, this is a script I heard from Saria Finkelstein, which is another buyer's agent. I'd rather ask you 500 questions and show you 5 homes than ask you 5 questions and show you 500. Right? That's my job. Current clients, new clients, doesn't matter. I'm there to ask a ton of questions and find the perfect home for you. Okay? So, getting into those non-negotiables. So just dig deeper. Right? Well, we want a fenced-in yard. Great. So if I found you the perfect home that was under your budget, we could write in a fence. Would that be acceptable to you? Yes. Okay. Well, maybe that's not a true non-negotiable. Maybe that's a want, or maybe that's a need. Right? We need to identify what that is. Okay. Make sense?
Is it fairly common for you to revisit these throughout the process if you don't feel like you guys are connecting on certain things that they're looking for?
If I have resistance or I'm not able to do a full consultation, yes. If I do a full consultation and they sit down and I spend the time, no.
Okay.
I usually find it. Yeah. Unless it's Paul. Paul bought the first house we looked at anyway. After 18.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Yes.
So what if they send you a list of like 10 homes they want to see and they're all different? I mean,
Great. Well, first I see which ones are available to show,
yeah.
and then I'll run that against whatever financing type they have. That'll narrow down that list. And then I'll look at their non-negotiables and I say, hey, you know, I'll give them a call. So, you know, we've got, out of the list of 10, we've got it narrowed down to 5 that we can see on Saturday when you want to take a look at them. But only 3 of these actually fit the non-negotiable items that we had talked about. Do I need to readjust your criteria?
But they're from out of town and they're paying cash.
Okay. So do I need to readjust your criteria?
Yeah, because that's one thing that Jen says is that, you know, if she does her job, if she does her consultation right, there should only be 3 to 5 homes that will fit their specific needs on average.
Yeah.
Expect, you know.
And that's another reason why a consultation is so important. I'll show you a strategy in a consultation that you can do visually, right? I pull up Flex. I start with all of them. There's over 5,000. So, okay, well, let's put in your 5 non-negotiables that we just talked about, right? So we'll plug in fenced backyard. The list goes down. We'll put in your price range. We'll put in your school. We'll put in the gas range that you said you couldn't live without because we have to have a gas range in the kitchen. All right, great. We have 7 homes. 2 of them are pending. So we have 5 left to see. And I've got some time on Saturday to line them up, right? Using that system, I've had buyers that we come in, we sign, or that we do the consultation, we sign, we look at the one house that's left in their criteria, we write an offer, run a contract the same day. And they're happy about it. Because they see that maybe there's not as many options as they thought. So you have to be willing to take the reins and be a professional. It's not a sales tactic. That's the reality, right? And so using tools like that, using Flex as a tool, using your market statistics as a tool, will help you come across in the right way, right? I'm not just trying to push you into any old house. You've represented to me that you're ready to look right now, and this is your criteria, this is what's here. So if that's not perfect for you, 1, we need to adjust your criteria, or 2, maybe this isn't the right time for you to purchase, which is okay. That's okay too, right? So, what, did I address that question?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, long-windedly, sorry. I talker, I apologize. So, what else do you guys have? So you guys have some terms: list price to sales price ratio, days on market, average days, BINS, buyer instant notification system is that one. I'll tell you that right now. Nobody ever knows it. Buyer instant notification system. I've never seen that term anywhere other than Ignite. but what it is flex. So, are you guys okay if instead of going into these terms on 15 and going into some of the statistics on the next pages, if I just dig in?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got that pulled up. I'm going to show you guys what we're working with in real time. I'm a hands-on learner. I don't know if you guys are. All right, so in Flex, you can go to a section here on market statistics, and we can customize this. Going to create a new location. Put in your zip code of your city. We'll just do Springfield. And we will do it for December 2018. You'll never have the current month you're in because this data doesn't actually populate until the following month. So let's just run this sort again. Okay, so now I have this great set of graphs that I'm a new agent, so I have no idea what any of this means. And then there's all these numbers that are intimidating, right? So it's really not as hard as what you guys think. And here's the cool part. If you want to know, hit the question mark button, and it defines everything for you. It tells you what it is, right? Take some time to dig into these tools, right? Knowing your numbers, knowing your market, that's what makes you the realtor of choice. You have to be an expert in what you do, right? I won't say that. You don't have to be an expert, but it will help you build confidence so that you can speak from truth and your own experience, and you don't have to say, oh, I don't know, to find out all the time. Okay? So if you dig into these numbers, you can see everything. Look, list price to sales price ratio. Let's take a look. We've got the lower line is sale to original price, and then this one is sale price to list price ratio. That's what I want to know. All right, so I can tell my clients, as of December, and I have this number memorized already because I put it in my consultations, 96.6% list price to sales price ratio, right? So that means if your home was $100,000, what is it going to close at average? 96,600, right? And so you can take your clients through that same data and you can say, okay, your price range, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is $300,000. At our average of 96.6% list price to sales price ratio, this is what we could reasonably expect that price range to close at. By the way, I can pull up my personal Flex stats in here and I can show you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, that my average for my clients over the past 12 months is actually 93.2%. So as you can see, I earn my commission. See what I did there? So as you guys get some sales, especially if you have some good ones, that'll help you. Monica's sister really helped that percentage for me. Because we got about 45,000 also asking on that one.
Wow. 45,000?
Yeah, it's 330, we close at 285. Yeah, so that is great for my stats. So you can use something like that where you get a good deal to sell yourself, right, to your client when you're in their appointment. And just be truthful, right? Here's my averages, right? This is where I'm at. Okay. So all of these stats can do that for you. And you can define all of these if you need more, stuff here. Price volume, this is what that means. Price volume chart shows the total value of all listings for each stats, right? And I even dig deeper when I'm in the consultation. I say, remind me what your price range was. Oh, well, we're wanting to be, around 200,000. Great. Well, let's take a look at this chart here. You can see the sold listings from 180 to 199.9 for 2018 was 8. For 2017, they sold 13 the same month. And so as you can see, the percent change there is it's down 38.5% on sold listings. So the year change is up 3.2% for the total year, right? So we're down for the month, up for the year, okay? That's in sold. Well, let's take a look at active, okay, in that same price range. So active, in that same time frame, we had 43 actives versus 35, so we're actually up 22.9%. So, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what does that mean for your purchase and your price range? And how does that impact your offer? If there's more in supply and demand, right? If there's more inventory and more price
aggressive in your offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Stats don't lie, right? The market is telling us, I don't set the market, right? The market is telling us that the inventory is up and the demand is down. When demand goes down, price goes down. So, with this in mind, how do you want to position your offer to get you the best deal possible, right? Does that make sense? So using these stats will help your buyers be in the right place for how they need to position the offer, because let's say they're in the 250 to 299 price range. Well, our active listings are down 43% from last year and down year over year. What does that do to how your offer is placed? We're probably going to be closer to the asking price, right? So if you have one of those clients that you're working with, and every house you show them, they want to say, oh, well, I'd only give $150 for this house that's listed at $225, right? If that's what you're getting, this is a good tool for you to use. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if you remember when we talked about the market, we looked at your price range, this is what the market's doing. You know, do you want the best deal possible, or do you want the house that fits 100% of your family's needs? Because I can help you achieve either goal, I just need to know which one it is. If you want the best deal, then I'm going to totally change our strategy. We're going to look at foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. We're going to take a look at HUD homes. We're going to take a look at homes that look like garbage so that you can get the best deal possible, right? Or we're going to look in a less desirable neighborhood, not the most popular elementary school and the most popular subdivision with the inventory being down from last year, right? So you can use all of this data to help you create urgency and to help make sure that your clients are making the right offer for what their motivation is. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions about that? Any of the statistics? So, I mean, I could go through and define all of these, and that'd be really boring, but dig into Flex as soon as you guys have access, those of you that don't. Just click on that market summary, and you will be able to dig into all this data. You can run it for different cities, you can run it for all the counties as a whole.
Where does it say days on market?
Days on market? I'll show you.
Should we just scroll past it?
Right here. Your average cumulative days on market and your median. Okay. So our average days on market is 63 versus 104 last year, so less time on market.
And you can narrow that down to like per price range?
You can if you get really, really into the data. Some of that stuff you actually have to get the broker metrics from, which is another resource that we get on a monthly basis. You can ask Rachel to be added to that if you'd like to see those broker metrics once a month. She doesn't send it to everybody because not everybody uses it, but that will even give you a price breakdown. There's a page on there that has the list price sales price ratio for no price changes versus one or more price changes. That's a really powerful tool if you're listing, right? Which is not our focus for today, but you can give the stats and say, as you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're going to get 93% on average of what you're asking versus 88 if we have to do a price change, right? So do you want to price your home to sell, or do you want to price it to sell, right? So there's tools and these tools that you can pull out of these numbers. This also is a really easily printable version. You can print this, it's one page front and back. If you're knocking on your neighborhood and you don't want to spend 30 hours and a lot of money on a great flyer, right? First of all, there's some free ones out there that are easy, but you can just print the sheet front and back. Hey, just around the neighborhood, I'm your friendly neighborhood realtor. I want to make sure all of my neighbors know what's going on in the market. So I printed some statistics for you. Here's my card, take a look. If you ever need anything or have any question about what's here, I'd be happy to sit down.
You can set that to be certain neighborhoods?
You can, I haven't actually done it hyper local. I think you can do it by postal code. I think that's about as narrow as you can get is by zip code. But you can do it by zip code. So let's say,
so you can do by zip code, say 65788.
Yeah, so 65804, for example. If you just want to do it on the zip code, then you can do it on that, and it'll run a report just for that zip code. Now, I'll tell you, if you're getting that dialed in, I would just recommend doing a Kelly snap and sending them that because it's a lot easier, right? I usually
You can't print a Kelly snap.
Sure you can. Haven't figured out how.
I'll figure it out.
I'm sure you can.
Sorry.
Send yourself the link and then pull that up on the web page and print it. It looks really great. Yeah. So Kelly snaps are easy to use. Cool. So does that answer some questions about the statistics? Any questions about data or how to use that when you're working with buyers? So, we watched that video. Research the stats. We research the local stats together. That's page 18. Qualify, that's our second objective, is how to qualify and schedule buyers. So it says using a buyer lead sheet. You guys have a lead sheet that's in here? You do. Page 21. And I know we skipped past this, but this is a great stat. According to the NAR profile from 2014, 2/3 of all buyers interviewed only one agent. Yeah, and so really, it's a pretty easy sell. If you get them to the table, all you have to do is show enough value and to show that you care, and they will feel comfortable with you. Yeah. So, qualify, right? This lead sheet's great, okay? There's also a lead sheet that I use that's actually from the Win the Buyers regional training. You can find it on KW Connect if you look up Win the Buyer and look up buyer lead sheet, you'll be able to find it. It's a lot more detailed. I can get a copy to Lexi and have her have that in one of the future classes if you guys would like. It's questions based. So a lot of the questions and the scripting I've been giving you guys, it's just off the lead sheet. It's basically a script. And you can fill it out. Do you have it?
Yes, you gave it to me at the first open house I shadowed with you.
Awesome. Yeah, so you have this lead sheet.
You
Yes.
were a really great one to shadow.
Thank you. So right here, so this is an example of the buyer lead sheet. Okay. Thank you. I'll give this back to you.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, right here, it has name, email, current address, family members and their ages, cell phone, preferred communication method, and then it gets into questions. You can turn this lead sheet into a script. It's a way to show that your buyer that you care because you're asking questions instead of telling them, right? And it's a way for you to pre-qualify them to know if you have any business sitting down with them yet, right? Or if they have any business being in real estate. I'm guessing since you're not working with a real estate agent since you called me, right? That script I just gave you, it's in the lead sheet, right? That's one of the first questions there. So who's involved with the purchase decision? What type of property do you want to buy? Why do you want to buy? How long have you looked for a property? What's your price range? Have you seen anything that you liked? If yes, what did you find? Where is it located? Did you make an offer? Why or why not, right? Do you currently rent or own? If you own, do you need to sell your current property? Great, I know a great agent that can help you sell that property, okay? Are you working with an agent to sell your home? What's the date and time for your next appointment with that agent? Okay? All of this stuff, if you want to make sure you're not wasting your time on someone that's already committed to someone else, just go through the lead sheet like this. And it's a good way to qualify while also showing value. Thank you. Yeah, Paul, do you mind making copies for everyone? That'd be great. Paul's a rock star. Sir.
He is a rock star.
25.
So, if you go through that whole lead sheet, then you ask for the appointment, your conversion rate will go way up. You've already shown that you care about them first, right? If you say, when can we meet? When can we meet? Oh yeah, we'll cover the details when you get there. You will find that they don't show. They will cancel. That's the biggest fallout that I personally see. It's not at the appointment. They get there, they're there, right? It's between the appointment set and the appointment actually occurring, right? Poor Megan just gets to see me cry every week when I sit down there and I reserve a conference room and nobody shows, right? So the way to fix that is by asking great questions and pre-qualifying them, because they wouldn't skip their doctor's appointment. They wouldn't skip their dentist appointment. They know that there's value and there's a purpose for them going there. If they don't know that there's value for going to your appointment, they will not come to the appointment.
So this is something that you use prior to even the consultation with
Yeah, this is all pre-consultation. Yeah, that's the third thing. I mean, you have to ask those questions. You want to pre-qualify before they even get there.
Yeah, I think Bold had a pre-qualifying script for buyers as well.
Yeah, they have one. I personally actually find it more warm to just ask the questions off the lead sheet. That's a great script. I just personally have not seen as high a conversion as I have with just using the lead sheet. So, and if I don't have the lead sheet filled out, I bring it to the consultation and I fill it all out. So at the end of the consultation, there's no, oh, I'm sorry, I know you gave me your email 3 times and I don't have it. I even scan that lead sheet into my loop. So in my buyer's loop, it's there. So I have all their questions that they answered, right? And then I can always reference back to that. Maybe I signed them a year ago and now they're ready today. Well, I want to have a record of what we actually did. So if I'm remembering correctly, you have 2 kids and you were wanting to increase the number of bedrooms that you had, and you guys were looking in the Kickapoo school area, right? Wow, how did you remember all that, right? Then you look awesome. So keep track of all of that stuff. It will show people that you care.
So do you, if they're not, you put this in the loop if you guys are making an offer, do you do this before do you have a loop already set for like pre-offer if you guys are actively looking?
If I sign them, then they're already in a loop.
Under a pre-offer, just.
Yeah, under a pre-offer loop. I put it under the buyer's name.
Okay, cool.
Because, you know, it can be a competitive market, you know. It's slowing down now, but, you know, especially last year, there was a point in time where if I was spending an extra 15 or 20 minutes trying to find that other document that I needed before I could send the offer, then I was already missing the mark.
Yeah, exactly.
So, being prepared,
Right?
yeah. Thank you, Paul. So yeah, so you guys can see, now that you have that in front of you, you can see that those are just great questions to ask. Denver, what you got?
What does your time blocking for appointments look like?
How do I block for time for appointments?
Yeah, like in your calendar, like how many appointments do you like time block for, and then how do you decide those?
That is a great question. I block 2 hours for my consultations.
So each consultation is.
Each consultation I block for 2 hours. Because you never know what kind of buyer is coming in. If you guys are familiar with the disc profile, if they're a high S or a high C, you're going to be there for 1 hour and 55 minutes. Right? If they're a high D, you'll be in and out in 40.
So here's the next question. If you have buy, sell side, do you still block the same amount of time, or do you, I mean, and that's not including the walkthrough?
I personally don't do that as a same conversation.
Okay, so you do an initial consultation on what, buy side first or sell side first, which one they want to do first, or what?
Depends on the client. If they can purchase without having to sell their house, and that's their intention, then I have the buyer's consultation first, and we discuss that.
So if they're wanting to buy contingent on selling their property?
Then we have the conversation about how we're going to sell their house
Okay,
first.
Yeah.
alright.
So, well, you know, I'd love to talk about all the homes that are great, but we don't want to put the cart before the horse. Today, let's just focus on making sure that we're pricing your home to get you what you want.
So what about the buyer that doesn't want to list their house until they have another one under contract?
Then, you know, I'm just a realist. You know, I say, well, look, here's the market statistics. Here's what we're seeing. We can do that. However, we're going to have to be really picky about the way we write the offer, because a contingency of sale and a contingency of closing are 2 very different offers.
Yeah, and it doesn't look as strong, like as strong an offer, plus they have that kickout clause in there too, so even if you put their house on the market, it's not guaranteed that they'll get that house if another buyer comes along and they don't have a contingency.
The way that I put it is, doing a contingency of sale, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is really all we're doing is securing a higher price for your home that you purchase.
I've been doing research like on bridge loans and that type of thing.
Bridge loan's a good option. I've done 3 or 4 of them.
I think this couple actually could do a bridge loan. Anyway, so.
For ones that can, that's great.
We're dealing with positions, so I figured we might be able to, so.
Yeah, you could, then it would be flipped, right? So that's why I said it depends on the client. If they can do that, right? Great.
So I wanted to give them the options that I had researched, because they want to find that perfect home before they sell theirs.
I've done 4 bridge loans, and on all of them, they never even incurred their first payment for the bridge, because by the time we found the house, got it accepted, the motivation was there for them to price their house the way it needed to be, and it flew off the market. So you can create urgency with your current sellers by focusing on the buy side of the process. If they're stuck on a price change, right? I've got some clients now that were actually the clients that Sheila has met, that's from the open house that she shadowed me on. And, you know, the conversation we're having now is, so I know that doing this price improvement is tough, right? But what if I showed you a way where we could save you, $4,000 or $5,000 on the home that you purchase? That way it softens that blow a little bit, so we can just get your house in line with what the market's doing, right? And so looking at the whole picture, then you may be able to bring it back to the buy side and maybe show them some homes and show ways that you can be competitive.
Who's the lender that you like for the, bridge loans, or have you used more than one?
For my bridge loans, I've always ended up using Oak Star.
That's who I've been talking to lately.
Yeah. Ryan Langston and Adam Swinka, they're a pair. It's Adam Swinka team are my go-tos, but there's a lot of great lenders.
But to elaborate more on like the time blocking, like in your calendar, do you have certain, like that 2 hours, like every Wednesday, this is where I want to fill that appointment? I'm
Great
leaving
question.
to fill that specific time block.
Great question.
That's what I'm trying to learn to do.
I don't.
Okay.
I know agents that do.
Yeah.
I think once you get to where you're operating at a high level, then that makes a lot of sense. Calendly is actually an app that you can use where you can send a link to clients, and it has all of your availability that you've preset for appointments, and they can just say, oh yeah, here, click, right? So there's some tools out there that you could use if that's how you want to set it up. I personally don't set it up that way.
Is there a reason why?
Because I block Wednesday, I try not to block the rest of the time for my clients.
Okay.
So it is from 1 to 6 every day other than Wednesday. Every weekday other than Wednesday, I have available for appointments or for showings.
Yeah.
So 1 to 6 that's my block, right? But but I'm willing to go outside of that on the weekends, right? Because Saturdays, I'll meet in the morning on Saturday, or I'll meet after an open house on a Sunday, right? So I usually like to have more than one option to give them. And jokingly, I just tell people, when you work with buyers, you work when other people don't, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult to block yourself just for weekdays. However, you can build your business to that point. Jen Davis is a great example of someone who has, right? However, you have to have the kind of business and have the kind of leverage to fill those gaps. And if you're just an individual agent right now, then that may not be something that makes sense right now.
Yeah, she's built in leverage to be able to do that.
Yeah, the coverage is always there, right? Yeah. And you can absolutely set the expectation that, hey, these are when most of my appointments are, but you need to be flexible to a point.
Yeah.
There's a line there. You have to present yourself as a professional while also still being available. Because you can time block yourself out of business if you're not careful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seriously. I've had some phases where it did that. So. All right, so we talked about the lead sheet, talked about getting that appointment right. If you don't already have someone, get an objections partner. Get someone that you can lock yourself in a room with and spend 15 to 30 minutes a week, if not every day or 5 days a week, where you literally just go in and you say, hey, we should meet. And then George objects. And then I give him something else, and then he objects again. Right? And we go back and forth. Right? So George, we should meet.
Yeah, I just don't really have any time in my schedule right now this week.
Awesome. I can respect that. You're a busy guy. What's a good time next week for us to meet?
Maybe in the evening when I get off work.
Awesome. So would like a 5:30 work, or maybe like a weekend, maybe like a Saturday at 1? Which one would work better for you?
Maybe a Saturday at 1.
Saturday, great. Good. Well, I got 1 o'clock this coming Saturday. We can pencil that in for now, and then we can always let you know if for some reason that changes. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? I'll send you a calendar invite. Sure. Great.
And what I found too when I first started is during Legion, I would hit an objection that I was like, I wasn't expecting that. But KW is always really great about being able to reach out to other agents that have been here for a while, and they can always, even if you don't have that partner, you can always ask that question like, hey, I had this come up today. How would you handle that, or what would you guys recommend? How would you handle that? So I use that a lot.
Throw some curveballs too,
Yeah.
right? Probably the most fun objection I ever